Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. You'll be very pleased to hear this is the last video in the Disas saga for a while. Now, I'd like to thank everybody who left comments contributing to the problems with their thoughts around the whole subject. I'm very pleased with the response. Not necessarily with the number of views on the videos, as they were quite low, but I understand putting the word Disa in a video title, a lot of people run for the hills. Simply because they're either totally unavailable where they come from, or they wouldn't dream of attempting to grow the little tykes. Somebody said good luck with your divas. Sorry, Disas. I think you were right first time. But eradicating the problems should leave them as nothing more than a different type of orchid to grow, if I can get to that place. So, things that I'm now going to do as a regular thing, with the help of your comments. First of all, we analysed where they come from. Now, I was under the impression that they come from the south side of Table Mountain, so they don't get much, if any, direct sun. Wrong. They do grow on the north side, so some of them do get sun. So the first thing that's going to change is, as from today when I've finished doing this bit of watering, they're going outside. Makes sense, doesn't it? And I know other people that grow them outside. I believe Rachel grows hers outside. Certainly if she doesn't grow them outside, she grows them in a cold greenhouse. The other thing that growing them outside will give them that they're not getting in here is good ventilation and air flow, as well as brighter light. Now, not putting them in the sunshine, but they might get a bit of sun once they acclimatise to being outside. We're well past the time of frost now, so outside they will go. Right, what else are we changing then? The oxygenated water replicating mountain streams. Yes, I've ordered a little air pump, and I'm still going to carry on watering these on a regular basis. I'm still not going to stand them in water, so the air pump is not for the water in the tray, it's for the water I'm about to use watering them from the top of the pot. Why do I want to continue watering from the top of the pot? It's called air exchange. Yeah? All roots of orchids need oxygenated air to one degree or another. Now, terrestrials, which these are, need a lot less. Nonetheless, they need oxygen around the roots. Well, that can come from one of two places. Using oxygenated water, we've got that covered. What else? Air. Well, in a terrestrial mix that's constantly very wet, obviously the air in there becomes very stale very quickly. So by pouring the water in the top of the pot in a flood mechanism, it pushes the stale air out and drags in fresh air, which has got the oxygen in it. So we're killing two birds with one stone. So that's the water side of things. What else? Table Mountain is a type of sandstone, very hard sandstone. So it's not going to disappear very quickly like some of the cliffs and coasts around this country that are falling away into the sea. But yeah, as a consequence of water running across rocks and through the roots of other plants and debris, dead leaves, it picks up nutrients. So the water is clear that they get. It's fresh, lovely mountain stream type water, but it's not devoid of nutrients. And that would be another difference between RO water and rainwater. Rainwater has some things in it. In polluted areas with lots of factories and smoke, it's got stuff you don't want in it. But, you know, in the main, rain can be collected that's usable for plants. Let's put it this way. All the plants outside my door are living on it, so it can't be bad stuff, can it? So what are we doing with our RO water? We're adding a little bit of feed, and it is a low level. This water I'm about to use here has got some of my Orchid Focus Grow in it. The people I've spoken to that grow Disas recommend using a higher nitrogen type feed in the spring and early summer to push on the growth. So we've got some feed. We won't be feeding every time, probably every other time. And at the moment I still plan to water every second day. I don't think every day will be necessary. And when they're outside, they will get rained on. Well, if we get some rain, I probably won't need to water them that day, will I? Because the rain will flush them through and add in some natural nutrients that they're not getting at the moment. So that's what's happening. The water will be cooled, so it's going to come out into the grow room overnight with the air pump in it to oxygenate it. Then in the morning when I'm about to use it, or when I'm about to use it, the Disas will be brought in and the feed will be added, and we will then water the pots one at a time with a flood mechanism to drive out the stale air, bring in fresh oxygen as part of the air, and using oxygenated water with a bit of feed. So that's what's happening. Bits of that were advised by many people. No one person got the lot. But without all those bits I couldn't have put this together. So that's what we're going to do. So I just wanted to show you, like, this pot. This pot has got some dying young Disas here. These have rotted. So that one hasn't, and I pulled it up by mistake, so I will poke that one back in. See, this is a plant here, if I can pick it up carefully because they are fragile. That's actually got successful roots, but the top of the plant looks awful. So I will tuck that back in, but that's not the one I wanted to show you. This is the one I wanted to show you. This plant is growing. This has got new activity going on at the top. Yeah? So this one is not going to fail. I'm dripping all over the place here. But some of the smaller ones may not pick up. That one I pulled out might not make it, having pulled it out, but we will poke it back in. We have a method. I suppose I'd better put the camera around now so you can see what the hell's going on. There's my screen somewhere about there. Yes, so to plant one of these, the roots are incredibly delicate, so you have to make a place for the roots to be. A hole that's bigger than the total expanse of the roots, so that they don't bend when they go in the hole. And then just place it against the side and gently push in. And that one may grow. It'll now get watered in, which will flood the media around the roots and settle it in nicely. Great big solid lump of peat there. We could break that up. Right, so that's what I'm doing. Yeah? That's the process. And I have a piece of staging outside, one of these grids like that. The other thing I've got to do outside is I've got to rearrange the patio area. I've also got to repair some heavy rain and wind damage around the garden. There's some things that have blown over. Now last year, those of you who watched the video, I bought some stands. They're sturdy wire they're made of, and they're long bits that stick into the ground with a semicircular support. Two of them make a circle. Yeah, you put the two in next to each other. Now my red valerian has gone over, the weight of the rain and the wind has taken that down, and some of the plants, things like the Michaelmas daisies and phlox in the planted border have done the same. They flopped over. They did that last year, and I got these stands to stand them up, but by then they'd shaped themselves to being bent over, so when I straightened them up they sort of look like that. So I'll get them early this time round, so we've got a bit of work to do out there. Right, so same process as before. We will take each pot in turn, and we will get our oxygenated water that's been played around. I haven't got my air pump yet, but we've given it a good slosh. Hopefully it's reasonably oxygenated. It's relatively fresh RO water as well, and it has some feed in it. And we will flood the pot. Now that is now pushing the air out, what air is in that pot. And then we'll do it again. So what that's doing is, as that water goes down through, it's sucking in fresh air behind it. Now I'm not worried if a little bit of water drains out of the pot into the tray, that's not a big deal. But I'm not standing the pots in water anymore. Water gets stale far too quickly. Now quite a few people suggested, well, why don't you put the air pump or an air stone or something in the tray? It's too much fuss. And it needs wires and things like that. And the Disas are going outside. No. I'll do it to the water and then give the water to the Disas, if you see what I mean. So again, we've got a pot full. Several of these larger ones are growing. So this tray full is not failing yet. So again, a good flood. Now this water is going through this peat and perlite mix. The pH, because I added some feed into the RO water, the pH of my RO water is about 6.8, 6.9, which is too high for most orchid types, and it's far too high for Disas. Disas like an acidic media, therefore water around their base. So that's no good for them. And as a consequence of pouring this water through these pots, I'll have picked up some stain and some tannins from the peat, so it will be slightly discoloured. Is it usable for anything else? Possibly not for orchids, but it's certainly usable in the garden. So now this pot's not such a happy pot, and it's mostly smaller ones in here, but then this one is growing, and so's this one. So again, we're not at a total loss here, not by any means. And I think the changes that are going on now should pick them up, and the fresh air and air movement outside will be a help. Anyway, that's explained what's going on and the process. This is not a big deal. You know, I've had to get rid of a couple more pots last time round. So I've got less pots. I've now got 2 trays. I've got 6 of the large pots in this tray, and the other tray has 3 of the larger pots and 3 smaller pots. So I've only got 2 trays now, not 3. And effectively I've got 12 pots to water every couple of days. That is not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. Anyway, that's what's going on. The only other thing I've got to water today is my Phalaenopsis, and that's a job that I do out in the kitchen, because that's where they all are now. There's none in bloom anymore. They're hopefully mainly in growing mode through the warmer nights and days, and hopefully we'll get some new leaves and some extended root systems and get some spikes when we get into autumn and the colder nights come back. So these are temperature tolerant down quite low, so these may be staying out a bit longer in the autumn than perhaps the Cymbidiums do before they need to come in. So the last thing I want is to get caught out and the pots to freeze solid. I'm not sure that would be a good idea, so we will avoid that. Anyway, as I say, that's the last of the Disa videos for a while. The next one will be an update to see how all this put together is actually doing. Can we see a marked improvement in the plants? Yes or no? So I will see you then for another, we'll call it a Disa update. And again, thank you for all your thoughts and advice and hints and everything like that. I don't believe anybody who left comments actually grows Disas. Nobody identified themselves as a Disa grower. The closest I got was somebody who grows frags in a tray of water with an air pump bubbling up the water, sort of thing, which was a similar set of circumstances that was being recommended. I don't want to have water in the trays with an air pump outside, because it means having electricity power outside. I don't want that. So we're going to carry on with the working on the inside. And again, thank you for all your help and thoughts. It's been very useful, along with some research on my part, and there we go. We'll all come together with a quite detailed result of what we're going to do from now on. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.